There we go. I just wanted to record this so others could see it in the future if they're absent today. Or maybe you're still working on the other projects that we've been doing. There we go. So we're just doing some simple hair practice. I'm going to show you how to do this shading in here. So I outlined the shape of the hair. It's not heavy. It's a really light outline. I want you to be able to see the reference image too that I'm working on. So we're going to start off with, I'm using a 6B pencil. I should probably be using a 2B pencil if I can find mine real quick, which I did. Good. I'll add in the 6Bs later. So when I'm doing this is like a waterfall technique. This is feathering. So I'm drawing long lines from the top down. Let me get closer so you can see my strokes a little bit better. I'm going to make them darker later, so this is how we get a nice texture. And it fades out, so I'm pressing down harder towards the top. I'm going to switch directions here of my curvature, and then go along with the side. So I fanned it out a little bit. You can see that some of my lines are going more to the left. Some are more in the center, some are to the right. So it's lighter up here at the top. And then we got some darkness. So I'm starting in the middle now. I'm not starting at the top part because it fades out to a lighter area. So we're going to blend in these lines to each other, not with the blending stub or anything, just with these quick little feathery lines. So I'm mostly focusing in this middle area, doing some heavier lines, fading out a little bit. I'm going to press down some more in random areas. This takes a lot of practice to do. Hair is very difficult. We're just practicing some straight hair. Right now we're just doing some straight hair because I want you to practice this feathering technique, and then it's a little bit different but has a lot of the same qualities when we do hair with any curls or texture, any waviness. So before we do any complex movements with our hands, I'm just teaching you these little simple strokes, and these simple strokes are just like this. They're flicking off the page, but I'm keeping them closer together. That's all this is. This takes a lot of time. One trick that I do is I rotate my pencil as I'm flicking this. You can see the shiny part. I rotate it slowly with my thumb so that I get that sharpness all the way around when I'm using my pencil. So now from this dark area, I'm going to add a few lines coming off because I want to blend. I don't want to see all these little tiny, in a way, dots from where my strokes began. So I'm going to start down darker here and fade upwards because this part has a little lightness here. I'm going to leave a lot of it still very, very light. So we're just matching the value scale. Oops, I just dropped something off my desk. And if it gets too dark, you can use an eraser to lighten up some of the areas. I'm just using the corner of the eraser and lightening it up a little bit so that I can still see those textured lines. So I'm making small little strokes coming down from that top dark area that I did. I'm going to use my 6B pencil later to add in some more shadows. Going to make some soft lines below these longer lines that I added in. Just trying to have some variety, using my sharp side of my pencil to make those lines nice and clean. Should probably sharpen my pencil, speaking of that, as I go on so that I can have nice clean lines and not get fuzzy. The first one you do might not be so successful. We are getting warmed up. It is 8 in the morning, so some of us haven't eaten breakfast, some of us are working on very little sleep, so we're just getting a little bit at a time. We're just getting warmed up here. So I am doing these strokes to make a short dark area, and I'm doing lots of layers. And the ends of my strokes towards the top are different lengths. They have variety. Some of them are short, some of them are longer, some of them are heavier, some of them are softer, so that this whole area isn't the same level of gray. Then I go down. So I spend some time drawing upwards, sometimes drawing downwards, and let it fade off with this simple feathering technique. So I added some more to the left and to the right. Hi, can you take this bag downstairs to the pool doors for me, these two, once you get settled in? Take off your crap. There's like that little office down there. Those are some supplies for students. Thank you so much. And good morning. So just a little bit dark here, fading it out. You the best.
These two bags?
Yeah. Just working my way down. We'll add some darks later. Don't want it to look chunky. So I'm going to make some more heavier lines in here to show that it is bending. I could spend forever on this, just trying to get every strand of detail in here, but that is no fun to work on doing. We are trying to get this as accurate as possible. Some lines will come out. There are some dark areas, so I'm going to press down harder right here towards the bottom. It's a place where the hair folds over. I'm going to fade that line upwards, so it's not just a little tiny line, dark line. I'm going to fade it downwards too. I'm going to add in some more detail lines, and it's darker here on this edge. Sharpen your pencil as much as you need to help with the lines. To help them be straight and even. Crisp. So starting to have a nice hair fold to it and texture. But it's not perfect yet. Just adding some dark areas, some medium areas. And again, if it gets too dark, you can use the corner of your pink eraser or any eraser that you have. You can lighten it up with an eraser, kneaded or anything, but the nice thing about using the corner of the eraser is it will create these areas here that also have a nice hair texture quality to it. And it smooths out some things as well. I'm just adding in some of that, just to highlight some shadows. Because I think I was spacing out when I was doing those areas. I just kept adding in the darkness. Not pressing down hard, just softly. I'm gonna add some dark areas again to show the creases in the hair, that it has depth. Then once I'm done showing you guys how to do this, I'll show you how to do hairlines as well. Okay, I'm gonna get my dark pencil now, my 6B. I'm gonna sharpen it and add in my shadows to give it more contrast. Because in my reference image, it's really dark up here. It gets lighter down there, and it's going to make all of this stuff nice and rounded. So I started just scribbling it in, and then I'm adding in lines coming off of that. Long, random lines. Like they have different lengths. Once you have more variety, it will look more realistic. Not everyone gets their hair cut straight. Hair has different lengths. It breaks at different points. Just still making these strokes that I did over here. Just flicking my wrist. Already looks more realistic now that I added in some shadows. Some longer lines to represent that hair being long. I'm going to add in the dark areas towards the bottom that I noticed as well. This 6B pencil really changes things. Makes it have a lot more volume and depth to it. And it also makes the gray areas look not as dark. And it makes the lighter areas look even lighter. It adds more contrast when we use it. Thank you. Just smoothing this stuff out down in here. And again, I can take my eraser and bring in some extra highlights in case it all got too dark. 'Cause I know it did over here. I'm not going to use the blending stub because I don't want to lose any of the texture that I had. It's okay if you do want to use that blending stub though. It's okay. It's okay. Looks better from farther away. Little ponytail. Alright, I'm going to show you guys other techniques now. I'll save this though and put it on canvas.